welcome back. We sure hope that you are enjoying the show. We do appreciate your company and, of course, your feedback every morning right here on K24 from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. My name is Shiko Kaitani, and as always, you can catch us on our social media platforms as at K24 TV on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Welcome to our social hour. And according to the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs on Disability and Employment, get this, 80% to 90% of persons with disabilities of working age are unemployed, and that's in the developing world, whereas in the industrialized countries the figure is around 50%. Now, on a global scale, laws, policy, and public attitudes that affect persons with disabilities has actually changed dramatically. But here in Kenya, what more needs to be done to empower and include persons with disabilities in different spheres? That's what we are talking about this morning as we jump into our discussion. I want to start off by welcoming the very Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi, our Westlands constituency member of parliament, who's seated right next to me. Karibu sana.
Thank you. At
the center, on the wheels of steel, at just about every state house function that you can think of. He's actually known as the president's DJ. DJ Euphoric, lakini jina ya gava is Barare Ogeto, right at the center. Karibu sana, Euphoric.
Sana, thanks so much.
Good to see you. And then last but not least, we do have Miss Iram Bahawal, who is the founder of Imperial Impressions, a partner to the Institute of Human Resource Management and National Council of Persons with Disabilities. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Rika.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with you, Iram, even as we work our way to Euphoric and Muheshimiwa here. What does the law actually say about the inclusion of people with disabilities in the workplace?
Wow. Many people are not aware, but there is a 5% slot in total population of people employed in an organization. So what does that mean? It means that every organization must have a minimum of 5% of its total employees being persons with disabilities. And
yes, that's not what you're saying. Okay.
Not what
Honorable
saying.
Wanyonyi, what can you add on to that in terms of what the law actually says and these loopholes that we have in our system?
Actually, the law talks about inclusion, that people with disability must be given equal opportunities with everybody else to participate in the job market. And there is even a tax rebate for employers who can create a work environment at the workplace for people with disability to be employed. If you employ and attain that percentage, the government will give you that tax rebate. You may be exempted from certain percentage of paying tax. So we try to encourage not just the government, but even the private sector. But the biggest victim in this sector is the government, because you can see even in the most appointments of government, people with disability go missing. That's where we are. And it's just a mistaken believe that it will be expensive to employ somebody, a person with disability, which is not the reality. In fact, if you look at the people who have employed people with disability, the performance is even much higher. Go to Safaricom at the resource center where they have customer care. And people with disability are the ones manning that area. The delivery is excellent. In fact, if you call there, you'll get it.
All right.
Right, yeah.
Euphoric, let me throw you in. You know, now we know you as the president's DJ, but getting towards your story and your journey, how difficult has it been for you before you decided to DJ to get employment? And even for you right now to even get gigs, assuming the president's DJ label was not there? How tough was it?
It was very, very tough because especially when you are having disability, because many people think that people with disability cannot deliver. So it was hard for me. It was really hard because I met promoters and event organizers. Kila mtu were like at deal. So definitely it's a no. So it's a tough actually to get someone who will trust in you, have that faith in you that you can deliver, it's
Right.
very tough. It was so hard, yeah.
Okay. And I think, Iram, this actually begs the question about the kind of attitude that we generally have in regards to employing people with disabilities.
Well, I'll tell you of my experience. Basically, what I do is create opportunities of persons living with disabilities within the corporate spaces. And every time you'd go and speak to somebody, they'll be like,
oh, they're what?
You know, they can't do the job. So I'll give you an example. I went to a restaurant and I was like, you know, I've got this hotel management staff who can really do well.
Yes.
And he's like, but they're going to steal. I'm like, hey, take me back.
Yes.
So like, yes, they'll steal, or they're very slow. And I'm like, why? They're like, because they're disabled. They don't know how to get things done. They will steal. So I was like, listen, the difference between them and me and you, me and them, is only probably the little disability. Yeah. But in actual sense, they're more loyal, they're more hardworking, they're very professional, very qualified individuals. Yeah. But you realize it's the stigma that has been created around persons with disabilities. Right. And I'll ask you, Shiko, when you're growing up, did you ever interact with a person with disability?
Right, that's true. Not so that much,
we've been sheltered since childhood. The persons with disability are always beggars, are always, you know, never come out of the community and all that. But in actual sense, they are out there, they are hardworking, they have degrees, they have masters.
And I think it's even what Mheshimiwa was saying, that they're capable of actually doing it.
Very capable, and they're very loyal.
To add to what she has said, personally, I went to an office where I met a promoter. He told me, like, I'm seeing you in a while. I stayed there from 9 up to 5.
Wow.
I never saw that guy again. You see?
Because he couldn't tell you.
They believe that these guys cannot deliver. See?
Yet you have a restaurant in Lavington. I'm not sure if you've been there.
I've seen it, yes, the Palette Cafe.
And 80% of their staff are deaf.
They're different.
You know?
I like it. We're actually going to talk a little bit about that. But remember, you can also interact with us this morning. Please give us your opinion and weigh in on our discussion today as we talk about the inclusion of persons with disabilities in the workplace. Our numbers are at the bottom of your screen if you'd like to call in. If you'd like to actually contribute via social media, at K24 TV is where you need to be at. Honorable Wanyonyi, what is the current budget for people living with disabilities in this country?
When you talk about budget, I don't know whether you mean the money we are giving to the National Council, persons with disability. Yes. Because that money is given there, but it's so structured. That so much money is going towards this. So much money is going towards this. Okay. And the thing is that you can only budget if you know the number of people you are dealing with.
So to begin with, the problem is we don't know the numbers.
We don't know. Because the people out there are so many. Okay. And so far, the National Council can just reach a small percentage. Yeah. And we need to look at it carefully so that we just don't throw in money there. We need to understand how many people are there, what are their needs. Yes. So that whichever money we allocate, it must meet those needs. For example, we need to give bursaries or education to people with disability. We need to give support with parents who have children with disability and they cannot do anything other than taking care of those children or even caregivers. That's true. And many other things, so that we don't just, you know, sometimes they think that they have given too much money. But in essence, that money is very little. It's very little. And is this what you're actually raising from time to time, even in the house? Yes. Right. Yes, yes. We have raised it. We have brought it. And when you take to Treasury, they just slash it. Really? Yes. They don't even listen because they think, why do you need so much money? They don't know that, for example, me today, when I'm leaving my house, I already have an extra cost because I can't just go. You have your handler, you have your driver? Yes, I need those people around me. Right. So, unlike some days when you just want to go somewhere, you just leave and go, and sometimes you don't even need assistance. Assistance. Right. But we always have this extra cost that is never taken care of. Yes. So we look at it and then you say you're having a double expenses. You are going to travel in a matatu, have to pay for 2 people.
This is true.
Yes,
yeah.
and all that.
And your wheelchair.
On your wheelchair, right.
And those things are not factored. You know? When a child with disability goes, for example, Nairobi University or any university in Kenya, they'll find that there's no infrastructure for them to fit.
Okay.
So sometimes the parents have to station somebody there to keep on assisting this person.
That's true.
Because it's very difficult.
Euphoric, you know, you having this close proximity to the president, everybody wonders, what does he actually tell you on a one-to-one basis about persons living with disabilities? Even by the time he selected you, is he not saying anything? Does he not, you know, prioritize this?
Actually, the first time we met and he saw me was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's something you are showing up like people with disability can do something extra that other people think they can't do. So to him it was a positive. He always telling me that keep it up. Yeah. Just you're doing, keep inspiring. Yeah, keep telling people it's not about being in the office. Yeah. Like me, it's not about it's in the event industry. So tell them like it's not a must to get employed. You can do something you love from your passion. And you know, people with disability really got talents. Yes. So me, what I always tell them, just discover your talent. Get to know what you want to do. Yes. Then through that, you can be able now to do, because like me, my DJ pay my everything. Yes. You see? So if you have a talent and you discover it and then you work towards it, then you can. That's what it always tell me, like your talent's taking you far.
Do you push him though? Do you tell him resolve? Because I know that's how you guys talk.
Those stuffs like you feel zinafaa kukuwa implemented. Sasa unamwambia, unajua prezo kuna mali tunaenda, we need to perform. Unajua like a performing artist, you have to get to a stage. You go somewhere there's no ramp, unamwambia maze prezo kidogo. Unajua to feel you are doing something you love.
What does he say?
You must be somewhere kama in a platform. So at least isiwekwe maramp. Yeah, so we keep on pushing. And ni msa anapenda actually people with disability. Big shout out kwa sababu he supports people with disability. Yeah.
Okay. Getting back to you, Iram, in regards to the corporates and how out of touch a lot of corporates or organizations are in regards to welfare of persons living with disability, and even creating facilities that accommodate persons with living with disabilities.
Well, let me go back to stigma. Yeah. So they can't be employed.
Yeah, that's number one.
Yes. So why do we need to change our structural environment? Right. Right? So there is that, first we need to start looking at what value do they have for us. And that's the conversation I'm always having with them, is there is a big gap in terms of how many can we hire? Not even how many can we hire. Can we hire them? Then after you say you can hire them, they will ask you, what sort of disability can we onboard? Yes. And I'm always like, any disability, right? So what does that mean? It must be so expensive. I'm like, it's not. Yeah. It's really not expensive to do the structural changes. Sometimes it only takes you to put a little, you know, the little board under the desk for a short-statured person. Yes. Sometimes it only takes you to buy a software on the computer for somebody who's visually impaired.
All it takes is a ramp.
All it takes is a ramp. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't take anything except for extra hours for somebody who's suffering from albinism. Yeah. Yeah. Right? So it doesn't matter. Persons with disability, the scope of disability is so huge. Yes. It should not stop you from hiring them.
Okay. Right? We're wondering, even for you, Honorable Wanyonyi, even in your campaign trail, how were you able to do this, given that you're a wheelchair user? Was it difficult? Did that discredit you?
It was very difficult. And even the language used by your opponents. You remember the first time my opponent went around and splashed all over the social media. Yeah. That I've already been nominated, so the people should not waste time on me. Yeah. So I've already been nominated, so because of my disability. So I told them, why am I out here fighting and doing all this? Then I wait for nomination. I should have just stayed in my house and waited for people to nominate me.
Yeah.
So it is sometimes the language, the mindset, the attitude that makes people more disabled than they are disabled. And sometimes I tell people, when I come through that door and you see my wheelchair before you see me, then you have a problem.
Let me stop you right there because I understand we've got a phone call. Can my director let me know, is it Bettina is actually here with us, or rather on the line with us from right here in Nairobi. Good morning, Bettina.
Good morning. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for tuning in and for calling in. Do you have a question or a comment?
I just have a comment.
Yes.
Concerning people living with disability.
Yes.
First, I'd like to congratulate they that are in studio today. I've been following your chat, and I think this is a conversation I've really looked forward to having with K24.
Yeah. Thank you.
In Isiolo, there was sensitization that took place.
Yeah.
Through the National Council of Persons with Disability, there we had a group of civil servants actually trained on Kenya Sign Language. So you'd find that in Isiolo, we have policemen, we have doctors, we have nurses.
Yes.
And this captured the whole region. It captured Isiolo, Laikipia, Marsabit, Meru. And I think this is a conversation that we need to streamline in inclusion of persons with disability in civil service. Okay,
wow. Very interesting. Did you hear that? Okay, we've got another caller on the line, Kagwema from Limuru. Hello? Yes, Kagwema.
Yes, Chico, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I want to congratulate those panelists who are doing that talk.
Yes.
And then the contributor said that I have a child who has a disability.
Yes.
And this disability is kind of psychosocial, it's mental. So I don't know, I wanted to ask Tim Wanyonyi.
Yes.
The lawmaker, what are they doing about those children who have psychosocial disabilities? Because it is a disability you cannot be able to see, but then they are not able to interact with the environment and the community because of that challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, are they doing something in the parliament to register it as a disability? Because we are facing a lot of challenges. My child has autism. Hello?
Yes, yes. We can hear you.
My child has autism. And like now he's completing class 8, and I don't know where to take him for a secondary school.
Yes.
Because we don't have schools that are catering for children with psychosocial disabilities.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Wow, Kagweme has brought up a really good point. But I like what Bettina also said, that in Isiolo, people have actually been trained on sign language. And when we get to Kagwema, he's asking, what are you also doing, Mheshimiwa, in regards to children who are autistic? His child has a psychosocial disability. You know, what next for them? They're in class 8. Where am I taking my child next? But you can continue even as you complete your point on your campaign trail and your experience.
You know, the National Council for Persons with Disability.
Yeah.
And there are other organizations also that deal with people with disability. Sometimes you bringing out, you know, there's some disability that are not feasible. So until you explain it or bring it out, that is the only time that now it can be addressed or it can be given that opportunity for support or something like that. There was once I was in the US, you know, there's one particular day that is set aside for children with autistic. And when you go to any place, completely silence. They don't use machines even in a supermarket. They don't use anything. Nothing that makes noise, you know, which can irritate them.
Yes.
So I just find that this is the sensitivity that we need to look at. That sometimes people are not sensitive to your needs.
Right.
They think that you can just be assumed, or like the other day when these enumerators of census, they come to my house, they want to enumerate. She's not asking me anything about disability.
All right.
And at the end, I asked her, but I did not hear you ask me about my former disability, or if there's another member of this family that has disability. Then she says, no, you know, we were told those are sensitive questions. what you have seen is obvious.
But how will you know the numbers?
It's not obvious, because I may just be sitting on a wheelchair. I may not be disabled even, or maybe something else is wrong with me. And you must express yourself.
Right.
You must ask. And you know, when you talk about accessibility in disability, it means if I come through that door, my wheelchair must pass without any problem.
Yeah.
If I come here, like this place where we are seated, I shouldn't be lifted by anybody. I should just come there.
Yeah.
And when I go to washroom, nobody should follow me. I should go in there and turn around and do my thing and come out. I've seen it all over the places. You know, in the US, they even say the size of the corridor.
Yes.
If you cannot turn around 90 degrees, then it's wrong.